So what do you think the future of grief is? Other than we can assume grief. Like, let's assume it's happening because death will be happening. Let's assume grief and bereavement is happening. But what do you think? Where do you see it heading? Because it has changed, but where do you see it heading into the future?
I think in terms of what we do to ritualize somebody's loss and to make sense of somebody's loss as a family, as a wider society, there will always be rituals that are needed there. And I think that we will end up, if we have the processes that we've seen over the course of the 20th century continuing in the 21st century, we'll see increasing diversification, we'll see increasing personalization, but we probably will see more and more of a shift towards that distraction of the memorial and the social gathering to commemorate somebody and to celebrate that life, and the disposal of a body. And I find it really interesting that direct cremation is so popular in America. I think when we take the long view of it, it helps us break away from perhaps the rigidity of tradition, which is not always helpful, because we can see that human cultures and societies over time have had a huge variety of different ways of approaching the loss and the removal of an individual from society, and a huge variety of ways of disposing of the dead as well. We tend to just go, well, it's cremation or burial, and of course it's not. It's cremation or burial or sky burials or excarnation, or there are so many different mortuary practices that are tied up with that person disappearing from our social context. So I think that it probably will become more diverse. I hope that it will become more and more personalised. And I hope that we have more people like Louise supporting grieving people who have lost a loved one.
And Louise, what are your thoughts on what the future of grief is? It's a weird question, but how do you see the future of grief and bereavement playing out?
So I think in this country in particular, we've been repressed for so long. 2 world wars, flu epidemic in 1918, and the whole keep calm, carry on, stiff British upper lip kind of thing, which we have seen and still see. But recently, I've been feeling really positive about where grief might go in the future. Pre-pandemic, everyone's talking about mental health. There are mental health accounts on Instagram. You can take mental health days from work. We're seeing a whole generation of people who don't drink alcohol at all voluntarily. People who and young people who spend their time going to yoga, eating well, embracing being a vegan, looking after themselves. A totally different attitude towards taking responsibility towards how we're feeling rather than repressing it. And I run a grief account on Instagram that's got over almost 30,000 followers now, where we're very open about people's experiences. And I know you've shared your experiences, your personal experiences, John, in the form of 5 things, where we get people to talk about what's happened to them and their reaction to it. And I think we're seeing a new generation of people who are becoming okay about talking about how they're feeling. And therefore, when they are bereaved, they expect the same level of support as they would if they were depressed. And it's just becoming increasingly visible in society. And I hope that we can keep that openness and vulnerability and not go back to being really repressed and shut down again.